What's up, guys? Edgy here bringing another video, and today I have something a little bit different for you guys. We got a new series. This one isn't going to be gameplay. This one is just going to be going over the lineup, kind of explaining to you guys to what the series is going to be, all that good stuff. So you guys see the name of the lineup, 2021 Fins. So basically what I'm doing, part of this idea came from my buddy Jason, and I kind of expanded on it and, changed it up a little bit from what he originally said. But he was saying, I should make like a free agency prediction type of video, which I'm kind of doing that. But basically, I am going to, instead of just, add what free agents I think we're going to get to the whole Dolphins team, I'm kind of just making it towards like, what is the Dolphins roster going to look like in 2021? So I'm still tying in the theme team, but at the same time, I'm not using all my legends and all that stuff. So this video is going to be, showing what free agents I can see us picking up, kind of give my thoughts on that stuff. The next video will be gameplay with this team. And, the following video after that will be actually picking up, the free agents when the free agency promo comes out, getting all those cards. So this part is going over, I already have them in the lineup. Players that I can see us picking up, players that I think are fits for the team. And there's a couple players that I didn't get for this that I could also see us picking up. I'll talk about those as well. But basically, this is just a look into what the roster is going to look like before the draft, but after free agency. So let's go ahead and click on the lineup. The majority of the pickups are on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, I'll go over when I get to it. But let's start first with the O-line. Offensive line this past season, much improved, but still not great, okay? We were much better than all the years we had Tannehill and the year before, first year of our rebuild. Offensive line was probably middle of the pack, which is the best we've had in a very, very long time. Obviously, in terms of offensive line, it is so important. If you have a great offensive line, your quarterback's job is so much easier. You don't have to have as good a wide receivers because you're going to have more time. Joe Thuney. Okay, this is a guy, let me get my Chris Collinsworth on. This is a guy that the Dolphins were this close to landing last offseason. So what happened, he was a restricted free agent. The Dolphins offered him a contract, and the Patriots matched it. Now, would Belichick have matched it if some other team would have offered him the contract? Probably not. If it wasn't a division rival, I don't think he would have matched the offer. I think Thuney would have been a Dolphin had not have been for Belichick. But he is an unrestricted free agent this year, and I think Brian Flores is still going to want him, and he's going to get him this time. For Eric Flowers, I could see him on the move, or possibly we play him at guard, and then, play Robert Hunt, play him at right guard, play Robert Hunt at right tackle. Then again, that doesn't work either because Solomon Kinley's going to have to start. He had a really good rookie year. So I think if Thuney comes in, Eric Flowers is gone. He's probably going to be traded somewhere else. He has a pretty big contract. Solomon Kinley and Robert Hunt obviously weren't expected to be as good as they were as rookies. Austin Jackson obviously had a decent rookie year also. He missed a couple of games due to injury. But I think he's going to keep getting better. Right tackle, I think, is going to be Robert Hunt. In reality, I think Jesse Davis is going to be our swing guy off the bench, where if someone goes down, he could play a lot of positions on the O-line. Probably everything except center. Ted Karras, we're probably going to re-sign him. Personally, I think he was the weak point of the line this last season. But Flores likes him. They say he's the leader, so I trust our coach. Jesse Davis is just here because Robert Hunt is at right guard and Solomon McKinley doesn't have a good card. So realistically, I think the line is going to be Austin Jackson, Joe Thuney, Ted Karras, Solomon Kinley, Robert Hunt. If we don't get Thuney, I think we're going to draft Sewell. And, that would just make Hunt and Kinley our guards, and then Sewell will be the other tackle. Tight end, you guys already know Gesicki's going to be our number one tight end. I could see us drafting somebody in the middle rounds here or signing a free agent. But our tight end group was the most productive it's ever been last year in terms of yards and touchdowns. A lot of that had to do with Gesicki, obviously, but Durham Smythe, Adam Shaheen, both of them had a decent amount of touchdowns or big plays as well. Durham Smythe caught his first receiving touchdown this past season. More often than not, he's a blocker, not a receiver. But it was nice to see him get involved in the pass game as well. At the wide receiver position, Lynn Bowden doesn't have a good wide receiver card. He has like a silver. So I just left him as the backup quarterback because that's the best card he has in the game, unfortunately. Lynn Bowden, I think, is going to be our slot guy. I think we're going to, if we sign a bigger name free agent wide receiver, I think we're going to draft a receiver like round 2, round 3. If we sign, a middle of the pack free agent wide receiver, I think we're drafting a receiver round 1, whether it be Chase, Smith, or Waddle. Jakeem Grant is only here because he's a higher overall. In reality, I think if Jakeem Grant's still on the roster, he's just going to be our kick returner, punt returner. We're not going to have him being a receiver. Preston Williams, I don't think he's going anywhere. Obviously, second year in a row he's gotten hurt, but he's showed flashes of being really good, and then he's had games where he's had a lot of drops. He's got stuff to work on still, but I don't think Flores will give up on him. He was an undrafted guy that we got and has made some plays for us. Marvin Jones. This is a guy that has been all over social media, hinting that he's interested in coming to Miami. He's, a veteran receiver. I think he's 30 or 31, but he's always produced. So you can never be upset at bringing in somebody who's, had consistent production. Plus, I think he'd be, one of the more affordable free agent wide receiver options. I could see us pursuing Allen Robinson, getting that really dominant number 1 if we don't plan to use our first round pick on a wide receiver. But I definitely could see Marvin Jones being a veteran free agent guy that we bring in on a somewhat cheap deal, and as well as drafting some guys at that position. I think we're bringing in at least 2, maybe 3 new wide receivers to the mix. I think Parker and Bowden are probably the only ones that are like safe to be on the roster, and Parker is even a question mark. It's possible that we could trade him. You never know. Running back position. So this is another position I think we're going to address in the draft, but I think Mike Davis, assuming that Carolina doesn't trade Christian McCaffrey and they let Mike Davis walk, I think Mike Davis is a guy that we could sign. Not going to be super expensive. He's going to produce, and he would be great to split carries with Myles Gaskin. Very versatile guy. He's good at catching out of the backfield as well. And I think compared to Aaron Jones, his contract would be much more team-friendly. Aaron Jones is going to be over $10 million a year, I'm pretty sure. And for me, running back isn't a position that you spend that much money on. Either you draft a guy or you sign somebody cheap at free agency that fits your scheme. I think Mike Davis could be that guy. I think we can get him for like $4 million a year, which isn't bad. And Myles Gaskin obviously had some really good games last year. Was very consistent, pretty much. He didn't really have a lot of bad games. He's pretty much always either he was having an average game or he's having a big game, which is a good sign. Tua's going to be holding down the quarterback spot. You guys already know that. I'm expecting a huge jump from him in year 2, obviously, with an improved offensive line and much better receivers. A lot of people from the outside don't realize that a lot of Tua's so-called failure, even though he had statistically a good rookie year, a lot of his so-called failure was just the fact that our receivers either couldn't get separation or couldn't catch the ball when they did get separation. So if you take away all those drops and make them catches on his stats, it's crazy how much of a difference it is. I think he's going to have the best year 2 out of all the quarterbacks from this draft class. Not to say that Herbert or Burrow aren't going to have good years. I just think Tua is going to make like a big jump. I think Herbert, his production is going to go down slightly, just because teams are going to have film on him now. He's going to have a new coach. He's got to learn a new system. I think he's going to still have a good year, but I think he's going to tone it down just a little bit. Burrow, hopefully he can stay healthy and he come back 100%. But the Bengals have to fix their offensive line. If they fix their offensive line, Burrow can be great. If not, he's going to still throw quite a bit of picks, and they're going to be losing games. Now, to the defensive side of the ball, guys, you'll only see one player that's really a free agent, but that's because there's 3 guys that I could see us bringing in that I'm going to talk about. So, if you paid attention to the Dolphins, most of you guys are Dolphin fans. You guys pay attention to us, obviously. Seems like every single year in free agency, the Dolphins make a huge splash with one crazy big name defensive player. And last year it was Byron Jones. We had Sue in the past. It seems like we always bring in one huge name on the defensive side of the ball. We also brought in Kyle Van Noy last year, which is a pretty big name. But obviously our defense was top 3 last year. It was first through a lot of the season, and then we would have a bad game and it would drop down to second or third. But we were a top 3 defense. It's not really debatable. You look at the stats, it's proven. Okay. Obviously, what do we need defensively? We need depth. Probably a stud at linebacker to pair with Jerome Baker in the middle. Andrew Van Ginkel, Kyle Van Noy, those guys are pretty much established. They're gonna be playing a lot. Emmanuel Ogbah, another guy that's pretty much he's gonna be on our team. He's gonna be producing. He's gonna be getting a lot of snaps. Christian Wilkins as well. He's going to be on the field a lot. Raekwon Davis doesn't have a good card. That's why he's at the backup spot right here. But he had a phenomenal rookie year as well. We have a lot of guys in the front 7 that are pretty much going to be set on the roster. But I could definitely see us bringing in one more edge rusher and maybe one more D lineman as well. And knowing that it's the Dolphins, knowing that we like to make a big name splash in free agency, I could see us bringing in J.J. Watt, Von Miller, or Levante David. Because those are 3 players in that front 7 that would kind of complete the unit. Obviously, we're not going to get all 3 of them. I'm not saying that. But I could see one of those 3 guys coming to Miami. I think the most likely one would be Von Miller. Just for the fact that Levante David, the Buccaneers coach, said that he's not going anywhere. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to try to keep him around, obviously. J.J. Watt is a unique situation since the Texans released him when they did. He has a different type of free agency. There's no tampering with him. He doesn't have to wait for free agency to actually begin. He can talk to teams right now. He can go meet with coaches. He can do all that stuff, and he can choose where he wants to go. And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be at least 10 to 15 teams that offer J.J. Watt something. He's just, he's been a phenomenal player for so long. Even last year when people were saying that he's washed, he's still, I think he was the number 7 ranked edge defender. Like, he's still a great defensive player. He's still a great talent. Some team is going to get him and he's still going to produce. He's still going to be a monster. Obviously, I think the most likely landing spots for him are either the Steelers to play with his brothers or the Packers for the fact that, he played at Wisconsin. People are saying the Browns are a favorite right now. I'm not sure how they're the favorite, or if there's something that I don't know about. But that would definitely be huge for Cleveland, obviously. But I think Von Miller would be the most likely one to come to us, just for the fact that the Broncos have already announced that they're not picking up his option, and he's going to be a free agent. We add another dominant edge rusher to the group that we already have, and this defense becomes even more elite than it already was. Noah Igbinoghene, he had a rough rookie year. Obviously, Byron Jones got hurt against the Bills, and his first real action was covering Stephon Diggs in man coverage on an island for 3 quarters. And, he gave up like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he was the youngest player in the NFL. He was obviously a new draft pick, and that was his first regular season experience. And we just threw him to the wolves. I still don't understand why we didn't switch and put Howard on Diggs and let Igbinoghene cover John Brown or, Cole Beasley or something. I don't get it, but, the past is the past. We still had a really good season. A lot of people were upset, the fact that he didn't really contribute much as a rookie. He didn't really play much. People were wishing that we would have got a receiver, because obviously receiver was our biggest flaw on our team. But I'm not giving up on him yet. I still think, he's a very talented player. Obviously, he was the youngest player in the league, like I said. He's going to get better. And the fact that he has Xavier Howard and Byron Jones to learn from, I think that is just incredible. Don't give up on him, guys. Give him a couple years, and I promise you he's going to turn into a really good player. Now, real quick, since we kind of went over this, I already talked about the guys I think we're going to get. I want to tell you guys players that I've either said we're going to be studs or, I know we're going to be studs that I've told some people about, but I may not have told you guys about. Brandon Jones, when we drafted him, I went and watched his tape, and I seen Honey Badger. That's what I seen when I watched him play. I seen the Honey Badger sideline to sideline, motor never stops, always around the ball. And, we got to see a little bit of that. Brandon Jones played quite a bit as a rookie. And, he made some really good plays. The fumble, he forced a fumble off of Cam. He almost had a pick six. He dropped it. But I think this guy's going to turn into a stud. I think Bobby McCain and Eric Rowe are still going to be around. I think they earned it to play at safety. But I think Brandon Jones is definitely going to get some kind of rotation. There's talks about us running a 3-3-5 type defense a lot this year, with 3 safeties. So I'm interested to see how it's going to be. Obviously, Brandon Jones, I think, will be more of the box guy. He's a little bit more physical than Bobby and Eric Rowe. They're more of man cover safeties. But I'm very excited about the season. I think after the draft, our team is going to be loaded, and we should have depth. That's always been an issue for us. It seems like injuries kill us. When we have a good roster, we don't have depth, and injuries kill us. And that's what happened at wide receiver this year. We had a very good defense. We had a couple solid playmakers on offense, decent line. Quarterback play was good for the most part. It was just receivers. Couldn't stay healthy and started having drop issues really bad. But, guys, this is part 1 of this series. Part 2 will be a gameplay with this team. Hopefully this video isn't too long. We're about 16 minutes right now. I'm going to have to cut it down a little bit, obviously. But let me know in the comments who you guys think we're going to sign in free agency, who you want us to sign in free agency. You guys can drop your draft predictions now if you want, but that's going to be another video in the future, obviously. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to smack that like button. Hit that sub button if you're new. Turn notifications on. As always, everyone have a great day. I'm out.